The Telegraph Night, 1863. Rain fell in slanting sheets against the windows of the small telegraph office in Washington, D.C. It was March of 1863, and the Civil War seemed endless. On that damp night, the young operator Samuel Carter was alone, guarding the machine that transmitted the pulses moving entire armies. Samuel was only 18, but since his older brother Nathan had marched with the Union Army, he felt the weight of a far greater responsibility. His mother prayed every night that both would return, even though one had never physically left home. Samuel could not wield a rifle, but he could send messages that saved soldiers. As the wind whistled through the door's cracks, the telegraph began to click with an unusual urgency. Samuel let his cup of coffee fall and leaned over the desk. The message came from Tennessee, where Union troops were facing a surprise attack. "We need reinforcements. The Confederates are advancing from the north flank." Samuel recorded every word with steady pulses, though a shiver ran down his spine. Tennessee was precisely where Nathan's division had been sent 2 weeks earlier. His hands trembled, but he had worked long enough to know that feelings had to stay aside. His duty was to transmit. He responded quickly. "Message received. Coordinating movements." He ran to the adjoining room to wake the commanding colonel, but found it empty. That night, he was in an urgent meeting with President Lincoln. Samuel swallowed hard. Hours earlier, reports of possible enemy movements had arrived, but no one expected such a swift attack. A decision had to be made in minutes. If the message was not forwarded immediately to the War Department, an entire division could fall, and maybe Nathan with it. He took a deep breath. "I'll do what must be done," he murmured. He grabbed his coat and stepped out into the storm, shielding the papers under his shirt. The offices where Lincoln was meeting were several blocks away. Water soaked his pants, mud accumulated on his boots, but he kept moving. Each thunderclap seemed to remind him of the urgency of the moment. When he finally arrived, 2 guards blocked his way. "Meeting in progress. No one may enter." "I bring an urgent message from Tennessee," Samuel replied, drenched. "It cannot wait." The men exchanged glances, hesitated for a moment, and finally let him through. In the room, lit only by oil lamps, Lincoln conversed with several officers. His tall, slender figure turned toward the young man, who was gasping for breath. "Son, it seems you've been fighting the sky itself," Lincoln said gravely. "What news do you bring?" Samuel handed over the paper. The president read it silently, then looked up. "This changes everything," he said. "We must move reinforcements tonight." The officers began drawing lines on maps, giving short, precise orders. Samuel stood still, watching how those words, which he had received alone in a small room, now moved thousands of lives. It was power, but also a tremendous weight. Lincoln approached the boy. "What you have done tonight could save an entire army," he said. "Your country owes you more than you realize." Samuel bowed his head. "Sir, my brother is in Tennessee." Lincoln looked at him with a mix of compassion and fatigue. "Then I hope your bravery has protected him as well." 3 days later, another message arrived at the telegraph office. The reinforcements had arrived in time. Union troops had held their ground. And among the survivors was Nathan Carter, wounded in the arm but alive. When Samuel read his name on the list sent by the medics, tears ran down his face. He was not a hero on the battlefield, but that stormy night had been decisive. And though the country was still far from peace, he had understood something fundamental. In history, great events are not written only by generals, but also by the young people who dare to run through the rain with a message that can change everything.